Hello and welcome to this week's tactical breakdown, the win against Liverpool, the big one, and it's a really interesting one to look at. Mostly, once again, as I get into this breakdown, I'm going to focus on the first half, as it goes with United oftentimes in the second half of games, and I think this is ordinary for football. When you get into the second half of games, it's not that there aren't tactical solutions and things being deployed, but it's a lot more frenetic. It's a lot more in-game little adjustments and tweaks and things like that. And quite frankly, sometimes it's hard to read into it. What I really like to look for in these tactical shows is how you approach the game all week. That's going to show what are you doing all week in training? What did you plan for? What did you prepare for? Did you get it right? What are you trying to do? In game, you have to adjust to the things that happen and all that. So it's very hard to measure it. I think they're two different skills. That being said, in rewatching this game, I think Amorim got the in-game adjustments exactly right, especially in that second half. United were worse in the second half, defending the lead, but a lot of it was simply down to the fact that they put it all on the line. They were tiring a bit. Liverpool went all out in the attack, and United did defend pretty well, all things considered, and after conceding, were able to go back and get another goal to grab the win. So that's really what I want to talk about today and look at is how we started the game, where it went, why some of the decisions that were made, and how I really believe that Amorim is starting to totally understand how we want to play. But I also think that we're seeing an interesting shift as the players start to really grasp what he wants, and we're learning a lot. The start of this season was bombarded with all of this talk about how Ruben Amorim's midfield was being overloaded, with Marco Silva making his comments about how they beat United's midfield in a 3v2, all of that, all this drama and all this stuff there. And I maintained during that period of time, if you go back and watch my videos, that this is simply a fundamental misunderstanding of Amorim's system that is likely coming into play simply because he has new players that are not getting it and maybe not yet got the right balance in terms of players doing the right things. And maybe he hasn't figured it out too, because there's a few things that he has changed. But in the last few games, it has really started to click. I think that we saw it first in earnest against Burnley, and then we saw it for a little against City, but he got some things wrong in the selection. Maybe didn't realize just how much the selection matters. Got it right. Chelsea was a bit crazy. Brentford got it all wrong. But Sunderland and Liverpool, he's gotten a couple of things really right that he deserves credit for. And the biggest thing here is that United's midfield is not the one being overloaded. It is actually the one doing the overloading. And I'll show you that from minute one in this game because it is why United won. Not only are they forcing the opposition to attack them from out wide, but they are sucking teams into the middle to then create numerical advantages for themselves out wide. If you go back to how I talked about Ruben Amorim when he first joined the club, and in terms of his tactics, you will find me describing his tactics exactly like this. He likes to defend really robustly in the middle, load up with numbers in the middle, and attack and let teams have it in the wider areas and be okay with that. We're starting to see that against Liverpool. We're starting to see that with the way that the block is formed week in and week out. And we're starting to see some flexibility where we can play different ways. Presently, United do not have the team in the midfield in terms of the legs and energy to play through teams for 90 minutes. I think that just because we are going along very often doesn't mean that we can't play through teams. We did so in the beginning of the Sunderland game. We even did so a couple times here in Liverpool, but I think the point is what we're finding is that Casemiro and Bruno are the best midfield partnership, but that doesn't mean that it's a good partnership. It's a good partnership capable of something, but it has a ceiling. The fact that we're capable as well of going long, I think is a really underrated aspect of Ruben's game model and style and way that he wants to play, is that it actually is quite flexible and it has the ability to do a lot of different things. And it means that when we have a lead, we can defend it. And so getting bright starts is one of the most important things that we can do. So let's get into the tactical breakdown of exactly how it was pretty much a system reason why United ended up winning this game. Now, that's not to downplay a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff I don't cover in this. I did not break down a bunch of Liverpool's attacks because, quite frankly, a majority of the game when Liverpool were attacking, where United settled into their 5-4-1 block, which I'll show, and then it's just win your battles. Win your battles, win your duels, don't make stupid mistakes, and have a decent keeper to keep you up. I will highlight a few times Liverpool got attacks through us when it wasn't just about winning and losing those battles, and what they may highlight in terms of concern. But let's get right into it. Let's start with the first moments of the game. This is 20 seconds in. Pardon my bad drawings here, but this is off of a throw-in. Liverpool have it here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the middle, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even 6 United players over here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see that the 10s are dropping into the hole over here. Let me just scoot this a little to the right so you can see it. Bruno's coming up. You can see how Ahmad is all the way tucked in, even acting as an extra midfielder in many instances by coming narrow when Liverpool were going narrow, just so that they have no way of creating a numerical advantage. This is an interesting little tweak I spotted during the game, where when Gakpo would come in from outside, he would follow him. Now, against City, one of the things that went wrong, and this is where I think Mazraoui is not necessarily the right guy at wingback, or maybe this is a something they've been working on in the training ground and understanding, is that against City, their winger would come into the space behind Casemiro in front of the back line, and Mazraoui wasn't always following him. Ahmad was following him, and he was doing a damn good job of it. And so that meant while we were pushing up and actually creating an overload here, you weren't leaving an open man there. Now, they get the ball, they kick it, it actually goes right to Bruno. 20 seconds in, and you can see we're kind of off to the races. Now, I want to highlight this what's happening here on the right really well too. Mbeumo drops. This means Van Dijk is often having to come up on him, and we're already getting a run. I don't know if this is Cunha or Mount. I think this is Cunha in this instance, who's going to go try to exploit the space in behind Van Dijk. Drag Van Dijk up, play in behind. That was the entire strategy with the lineup that was selected, from first balls, from second balls, from everything that was being played. That was the strategy. We end up getting the ball in here, and you can look at all of these numbers. You've got all of these players attracted. You've got your wingbacks going up. You've got your other wingback going up. You've got Bruno coming up. You've got all these numbers in here, and Liverpool are all sucked into the ball because you have the 10s dropping, and you're seeing the imbalance already over on this side, which will lead to a goal just 30 seconds from now. So we've seen this before. This, even though it's portrayed differently than sometimes, you've been watching my tactical videos, this is Ruben Amorim football to a T, and we're starting to execute it better and better. Then you look at, here's where the start of the goal happens. Ball comes up. Look at the line of 4. We're already in a 4-4-2, essentially defensively, and that's not including Casemiro. We actually have Mbeumo up here. I think this is Mount in this instance. Bruno and Cunha here. Dalot is high. Ahmad is high. Look at this huge amount of space when Van Dijk steps up to try to win the second ball. We've got 4 players clean, and we actually have the makings of an overload if you look at this already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think Kirkes is off here. So we have a potential advantage immediately forming just by playing these second balls. Header comes off, comes back into Harry. Once again, we look at the numerical advantage we have in the center. Look between the sticks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players compared to 5. United are sucking everybody in. And of course, then you've got, look at how narrow all their whole back line has to go in order to deal with all of these players. So Harry knocks it back in. Van Dijk steps up again, smashes into his own man and McAllister. And again, look at the numerical advantage that we have. 3 players right here, 2 players here, 4 on 3 in the middle. So we're going to win the second ball. And look at the wingbacks staying where they're supposed to, in line, starting to creep forward. And you can see that we have an advantage here already forming. Bruno picks up the ball. And look, we don't have a crazy numerical advantage, but we have Van Dijk out of position. We have numbers here. Mbeumo gets up and goes really quickly. And so this obviously leads to a situation where, you know, they have to be careful of all of the players that we've got. Let's scroll down to the next image. Here we go. So if you look at how they have to defend it, because everybody starts running, look at all these players in the middle flooding this area. This creates confusion because we're on the run and we're behind them. Konate is dealing with Cunha's brilliant run here. These guys are watching for Mount, Dalot, Bruno coming in, and it's Kirkez one-on-one with Ahmad, a matchup we would all love to see. Mbeumo makes that run through. Van Dijk passes him off and is unsuccessful in Konate getting over there. And of course, Mbeumo finishes the chance and boom, 1-0. So right off the bat, the selection of Cunha dropping and dragging turns into a goal for United. Dropping in. Now, if it's Šeško, maybe it works still, but you can see that it was actually Cunha dropping off and Mbeumo being up high so that he can make a quick run in behind that makes the whole thing work. It wasn't even Cunha challenging. It was Cunha being ready and then making a lot of intelligent runs as he did throughout the game. Second thing I want to note, and I noted this last week, once again, it's these two guys, Mount and Ahmad. Watch them when you rewatch, and you have every answer you need as to why United play well when they play. It's everything. All the questions about 4-4-2, why do we sometimes play in a 4-4-2, why do we sometimes not? It's all this. This is normal. Mount has a very, very unique intelligence when it comes to pressing, where he drops in, and you can see here, most wingers would be up here already for this press, trying to block it off. Now, that may look like a good idea, but what it does is it actually allows the team a quicker route to go back the other way. In this case, instead, he's willing to drop off deep, which keeps passes over here blocked off. And if the ball starts to come to this direction, he'll quickly get up and close it, and you end up being able to trap them. And in this instance, he actually does. The ball comes over here. He gets on his heels instantly. The ref calls a foul. It's not even a foul, to be quite honest, but the ref calls a foul, and United are fine in defending. Ahmad, his movement was crazy in this game. If you watch him, he's everywhere. He's following Gakpo. He's tucking in when needed. He's out when needed. He's deep when needed, but he's always ready to explode forward. So their pressing is brilliant. Here again, we'll show Ahmad a second later. This is what I'm saying, where he was willing to step all the way up into the midfield when there wasn't a threat out wide to keep this dynamic block here, where when Mbeumo has to start coming out to somebody over here, you would usually have a pass available here, but nope, Ahmad comes through. This is often where a midfield would fail and be passed through in one attempt. But again, Ahmad knowing where to be and where to tuck in. He has crazy game intelligence, like unbelievable game intelligence. It blows my mind, and he's so fundamental to it. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'd lost faith in Ruben Amorim. Not picking Ahmad out wide will kill us. It's so crucial to his whole setup, to defending properly, to attacking properly, to everything. We need that. If we can get that on the left side, even better. But it's okay to have a slightly more defensive left wing back while you have this Ahmad on the right wing back. But he's so hyper intelligent in the way that he plays. He's getting it, and I love it. And the partnership he's forming with Mbeumo is everything. So this defensive block was frustrating the hell out of Liverpool. Really, they didn't get anywhere for a long time. Now, when they did progress into our half, which usually took them a couple minutes, we would immediately drop into this 5-4-1, and we're basically saying, hey, you can have the ball out here. We don't care. What I want to highlight is that we're properly defending without too many men. It's okay to have this when you see how many players they have back. 1-to-1, 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 1-to-1. So, in fact, it's almost like a 6, but you have this line of 4 right here. So we're defending 1-to-1 and saying we're cool with you having it out here. When the ball does come out, we step out a little bit, but make sure this guy's being followed. We don't step out too early so that we make sure that McAllister doesn't have this space and Mbeumo can follow him, or Ahmad can pick him up and then Mbeumo can come out here. But one thing I want to note, and why it again works better this way, is Ruben prefers to keep these channels kind of clean, right? Mbumo defending in this channel, this player in this channel, this player in this channel, and etc. So you make these channels in here. So if there's a wide player, he'd rather Ahmad come out so you have less side to side. I'm drawing all over this. You have less side to side, more vertical. You don't want Mbumo to be doing lots of like all over the place, in and out of it. You'd rather he defend in his channel. So he'll stay here, and when McAllister comes through, he'll follow McAllister. But if McAllister drifts out here, Ahmad will go a little wider, and Mbumo will stay a little narrower. This is how he tries to reduce confusion in the defending, and it's why he goes with a back three. He wants his players staying in their vertical channels and not necessarily having to go too much side to side. But one of the most important things here is we didn't drop into our 5-4-1 too soon. We dropped when it made sense, when we had 5 players defending 5 players, or 5 against 4, not when it was 5 against 2 or 3, which was a problem against Brentford. So a big improvement in defensive organization here. Now here's the next moment that was really important. Again, 20 minutes we spent just completely frustrating Liverpool like this. Lamens goes long. Once again, Van Dijk here, Mbumo putting him off. Look at the height where Ahmad already is. Look at the free space for our midfielders. We've got an overload in the middle to win the second ball. Head over back and go down to the column. And all that happens here, Casemiro then wins it, gets fouled, and we get a free kick out of it. So nice. Good stuff. Then here, we actually kind of, this is just your sort of classic United play. Yes, we went long a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I think what's important to note is that the fundamental strategy is the same, even when we're going long from kickoff. Here, we're getting the ball in the middle. Look at Cunha dropped all the way in here. Look at how you have Mbumo on Kirkes. You know what that means, right? That means Ahmad is going to be in space over here, free in a 2-on-1. Van Dijk is here. Konate is dragged up because Cunha is dropping in so deep. Mount's got him over here. Dalot is up high. So what can Bruno do? Boom. Switch the play perfectly. Look, you always know the moment you have Mbumo on their left back, and get it in frame here, every time if you're looking at the pitch and Mbumo's on their left back, if Ahmad is playing, he's going to be free to attack. So we sucked them in here, and this means Ahmad has room to roam and get forward. Now, this would have been a really nice move. He ends up, in this case, Dalot is making a good run forward. Ahmad switches the play back over to him because he sucked the defense into this side, and Dalot is actually running free. It's a really quite a good pass, but Dalot can't control it, loses the ball immediately, and the opportunity is essentially wasted. So yeah, just need better execution. Then there's this moment from Dalot, and why I'm highlighting this is like, this is where we can't make mistakes because we did not really concede a lot of chances from the system. Here, Shaw presses up, wins the ball quickly to Dalot, who does a weird flick on over, passes straight to them. We have a numerical advantage here. We have 3 players here. Casemiro's a foot away. Bruno's a foot away. Dalot does a weird flick. He either should let it out or be able to actually make the pass to one of them. There's a weird flick that goes to attack, and here's why it's dangerous. When Shaw steps up all the way up here, you can't turn the ball over. You have to recognize that situation with game intelligence and say, all right, I'm not going to turn it over here because my center back is way out of position. You can see Gakpo sitting here, and that means Isak is behind Luke Shaw. So you know this is a bad situation, but he does it anyway. He was really working hard for Liverpool in this game. Now Maguire's there, having to run back, track Isak. This means the midfield is open because if we look back at this instance here, you can see that Shaw is caught up here. This guy's going to run into space. This ball is going to come right into him, and you've got a really bad situation on your hands. So now Gakpo is running free, in a situation. Maguire has to stick to Isak. Gakpo's running free against De Ligt, and the ball, it's a good pass from Mo Salah over there, which gets Gakpo in on goal where he hits the post. Now, again, this is purely down to a stupid turnover at the wrong time, which can happen. Now, the next moment, we actually play through Liverpool a little bit here. This is 22 minutes or so in. Pass goes directly into Dallo. We kind of pass it around a little bit more. Casemiro's open in the middle. Once again, I wanted to highlight this because I want you to look at the numbers that we have in the middle. We have the numerical superiority in the midfield. We have had it all game. Everything for them had to come out wide. So we win it. Look at Cunha, how deep he was coming. So he's keeping Konate honest. He's dragging one of their midfielders. And of course, that means that Bruno is wide open. And here we go again. Look, you can even see Kirkes going, oh, shit. You know, I'm on Mbumo. Ahmad is going to be free. It's every single time it's the trigger. Bruno's in the right place. They've got to watch him. Every single time this is the trigger. Kirkes is on Mbumo. That means that ball out wide to Ahmad is on. Pass comes into Ahmad. Mbumo goes narrow to go into Van Dijk, leaving a one-on-one for Ahmad on that side. He runs all the way forward, cuts it back to Bruno. This should be a goal. This was a beautiful, well-worked play. We had one like this with Casemiro, and I posted it, and I said, we got to start turning these into goals. Bruno, when he scores, when you see it from the behind angle, he's got this much of the net available. Marmadashvili goes the other way, even a little bit more. He ends up hitting the post. You've got to at least work the keeper because look at our numbers right here. Even a rebound, we've got a good chance of picking up. You've got to score from here. We have to start taking these chances. We could have put this two goals up first half. We had the better chances, honestly. Still, a well-worked goal. And again, what I'm trying to as well illustrate is it's the same thing we're seeing every game now. The system is working. It can be deployed in different ways. We can go long. We can play short. We can play through. Same system. Find the space. Overload the middle. Get Mbumo onto a fullback. Switch it out wide to Ahmad. Mbumo to occupy the center back. Ahmad to go get that one-on-one. Cut in. Go down the line. Cut it back. Cross it in. Whatever. Goals. So that's how we scored against Sunderland. It's how we've created and scored against Liverpool. Then again, few minutes later, once again, I want to point out if Van Dijk has to step up. Look at the superiority here. We've got free players all over the place to win the second ball. It was working so well. It's almost unbelievable. We win this. De Ligt wins this ball, passes it, I think, right away over to Ahmad, who is able to then send Mbumo down the line, and Cunha makes a brilliant run. So we get, again, the superiority out wide with these intelligent movement from the forwards and the link up from everybody. Ahmad sends Mbumo through. Mbumo sends Cunha through with a pass into here. Cunha cuts it back. This is a really nice move. This is Mason Mount attacking the back, I guess it's sort of the front post properly. Mamardashvili spills it, and because he's got to try to block the cross, and Mount so nearly scores. I mean, he did it was sort of off position, but he so nearly scores. This could be another goal as well, and another really well-worked move. So we played through them. We played long. The attacking principles were the same, regardless of which way we played. It's the same principles. Overloading the middle, picking up the ball there, getting it out wide quickly, and then clever, intricate runs through the channels by the strikers, by the winger, and by Ahmad. It's actually a thing of beauty. It is really starting to click. It's some of the best patterns that I've seen at United in a long, long time. Now, here's one where we do get cut open, and this is the simplicity of it. We're in our block here, but we're holding a high line. This is simply where, yes, we suffer a little from lacking in pace. You can see Isak makes a blindside run on Shaw, in between Shaw and Maguire, and we just don't have the pace. It's one pass. It's one pass through that gets him. One pass that goes through, gets in on goal. And fortunately, we actually have a keeper now. Senna Lamens, good, simple save, good positioned, makes a good save with his foot, keeps us in the game, keeps us ahead. That simple pass when we played a high line there, that is what we lack a little bit with the lack of pace there. That hurts us, frankly. And I don't remember how we got into this instance, but in an ideal world, this would be countered by, how would United deal with this? Well, simply put, you just have to defend better on this one. I think it was just a one momentary lapse because it's not like we don't have the numbers. Ideally, you want to cut this pass out, but obviously Mount is kind of caught between two. Konate coming up does break the structure here a little bit. Tell who is who, actually, if this is Mount or Cunha up there. But I think really it's because we're slightly out of shape, right? Because we're in our back five, which means we need four, which means one should be further back so that one is wider and one is in this gap right here. But we were out of shape a little bit. They were aggressive, etc. So it's mostly about not having four in the middle. We were, in this instance, caught in a 5-3-2, which actually doesn't suit us, especially with the lack of pace in the back line. So we make the save there. Then again, I want to highlight this. It's really, really funny, actually. But we again win a go long with the header. Go long. Konate wins it. You can see, look at the numbers we have here. Now, they were in front of us, one player here, but we still have the numbers to attack this. Now, it's really funny because after this happens, looking at Virgil van Dijk on this is so funny. Konate heads it forward. You look at Van Dijk. It's so funny. I was watching it on the replay and I noticed it. He goes like, oh, so frustrated at us winning another second ball off of this going long. They had no answer for it. It was killing them. And you can see, again, he's got to keep an eye to Cunha and Mbumo over here. I don't know if we actually turn this into anything, but you can see how we won it essentially in a completely free space. Now, we've got good numbers here. We've got completely open midfield. Once again, our numerical superiority in the midfield works. We kind of passed it around backwards. Then this ball comes in. You can see that Cunha's movement here. He's kind of dragging Van Dijk up. Mount is staying high at this point. Bruno is free, and it's kind of forcing them out. They've got to keep an eye out to Ahmad over here and Mbumo all the way over here, so Gakpo can't come inside to help with the numbers. Bruno actually lets this run. I don't think he needed to, but it kind of worked out anyways. Cunha takes this one touch over to Bruno and spins off of Van Dijk and runs in behind. He was turning him. You could see off over on here on the right, Mbumo is starting to already make his run. Bruno one touch passes it back to Cunha in the middle, who is free in this instance. And here we go again. We've got our 2-on-1. Now, I think that Konate actually comes out and tackles Cunha, so we lose the advantage a little bit here. I think Cunha probably needs to just touch it right over here, but he didn't quite get control of the pass as it was bouncing. One touch out to Ahmad, and it would have been the same opportunity we've seen time and time again. Regardless, we kind of reset and recycle. Konate, because he had to come all the way out here, runs back over to his position. Mbumo's out here dragging Kirkez. You know, Ahmad's over here. Bruno's here. Van Dijk trying to stay in his normal area. Cunha drops right into the space, does brilliantly, getting in an opportunity there for an open play. And he doesn't do anything with it. I think he ends up cutting inside and shooting and missing over there. But regardless, another really, really good move. So I think that's it. So, you know, again, what I'm really happy about, what I'm really excited about when I look at us play and when I look at what's going on is it's the same patterns. Don't let anybody tell you that what we saw against Liverpool was different. It's the same football we've been seeing all year. We're just starting to execute them better. We're starting to take those chances. We're starting to beat them. And that's against a good team, one of the better teams in the league, obviously, the league champions. It's against a good team. It's working. People don't have an answer for it. How we get the ball from back to middle is still in flux. We can go long to Šeško. We can try to play through them. We can do the bounce pass with the inverted center back, whatever. It seems as though we're willing to vary that needs must to get the ball to the middle. But once we're getting the ball to the middle, it's the same patterns as everywhere else, and they don't have an answer for it. Nobody has figured it out yet how to solve it, and I don't think that they can, because it's numerical superiority in the middle and it's athletic superiority out wide. And it's hard to beat. And this is where Amorim's system can really, really cook. So it was a system. This was a system win. Not to take anything away from all of the players putting a heart on the line, because a lot of the game was spent defending. And in that, it's just all about effort, focus, and intent and energy. But really, really good calls from him. really brilliant selections, really brilliant play, really brilliant adjustments, and it all worked out. And I think that the first half was the biggest thing. The second half, again, a lot of defending. And then the last 30 minutes were just, I felt like Barclays. Like it was up and down and back and forth and crazy. And then United got that second goal and settled in. So big win. Huge for the mentality, but tactically spot on. And again, it is the system, and they're starting to really get it. And heading wins like this, I think will give them the confidence. Now, against Brighton, I would start Šeško. One of the reasons we've lost against Brighton is we've tried to play through them in the middle. So trying to get the ball from back to middle. We're facing a team that has been so good technically in how they've been built in their patterns. Their style comes from the same different managers. It's the same all around. It's really hard to play through them in the middle. I think we put Šeško on. We go long to him, win the first balls, the knockdowns, get him out wide. I'm not saying we won't play through a little bit, but I think we go back to Šeško for that game because he'll win a lot of those against Brighton, and that will give us that security. And then once we get the ball into the middle, we do these same attacking patterns getting forward. So I would be surprised if Šeško doesn't play in that one, because we're not going to be wanting to let Brighton do kind of the same that like with Liverpool, specifically because we didn't think we'd win the first balls, that we went with this strategy. Against Brighton, I think we will win the first ball. So we'll get Šeško up there, and then that'll give us that variance where we can play short. If they start to press us, we'll play long. If they drop off too much, then we'll play short. And that gives us that ability to do so. The ability to play long is huge. It's hard for teams to deal with. It doesn't mean we have to do it, but until teams figure out how to deal with it, it's okay. Liverpool kept trying to press us, so we kept going long. If they had dropped off, we would have started playing short. And the few times they didn't really press us, we were actually able to play through them. So I think that this is something that we're doing that's actually working really well to frustrate teams. So that's what I have for today's tactical video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn notifications on. I'll catch you in the next one.